Now that you've got all your tiles and you put the name of the slide into it, I don't know that the slide number is necessarily going to be important, but you can see now that I've got all of these in here. So if I go ahead and click on slideshow, they're all there and ready to go. So the next thing you need to do is you need to hyperlink each one of these. So, and the way you do that is you're going to right click on it, and you right click on the object, not the words, but the object itself. So notice I didn't click on the words. And you're going to choose hyperlink. And notice it goes to current folder, so it could, in this way I'm hyperlinking to another slideshow, which is not what I want to do. There's things called browse pages, which would be files that you've, things on your computer, recent files, the same thing. It helps you to look for things, but actually what I'm looking for is a place in this document, and you can see when I click on that, it gives me a list here. Well, I know that this is the one that is how far he traveled, so I'm just going to click on this one, and it shows you the slide, and you're going to click OK. So that now when I go to this slide and I click on how far he traveled, it takes me to the slide I want to go to. And so of course, let's move back here. So you can go to all of these now and do the same thing. But be careful, I'm going to go down here to this one. Be very careful not to click on a word. I'll zoom in right here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, notice it's blinking on the word people. If you click on a word and you go to hyperlink it, so let me just right click again, hyperlink. Notice it says text to display people. That should be your first clue, and I'll go down here and I'll choose the one that's people, didn't believe him, and click OK. Now let's take a look at the slideshow. I'm going to click here, and if I notice that I don't get the little hand here, if I click on this, oops, well it goes, no, that's how far he traveled, so that's kind of bizarre. That's not where I want to go. But notice the word people here is different. It's got, well, it's hyperlinked. You can see it. And so if I click on that, zoom out, it takes me to that slide, but I have to click on that word. And it's kind of awkward and strange. So we don't want to do that. That's something that you don't want to do. So the next thing to do is kind of a little bit labor intensive, but you just right click, and right click. Now one of the things that I thought about that is kind of interesting is that, once I go out to this, undo this one here, Control Z. Okay, so if I properly do it, I'm going to right click here and go to hyperlink. And again, go to people. Click OK. You can just double click on it, it'll work too. See? Okay, so now this one's ready to go, and again, if I click on it, and I don't have to click on a word, I can just click on anywhere on the tile. It takes me to where I want to go. Well, here's one of the problems that we have too, is that it won't take you back. In order to get back, you have to actually do something like this, or you have to do something like this. And so another thing that you can do is you can create on each slide, and I'll just, if you go up here to insert, and you can, it can be any shape you want if you want. Let's make it a, these shapes down here are action buttons, and they're already hyperlinked, so I'm going to use this one. And down here in the corner, I'm going to, if you hold down the shift key, it makes a perfect square. If you don't hold down the shift key, it does this business right here. Okay, so it could be not square, so I'll hit Control. Now notice it pops up this action setting. I'm going to undo, and I'm going to try it again. So I'll go down here, and if you hold down the shift key, it makes a perfect square. And since this is an action button, it already pops up something, and you can say, where do you want it to go? And let's see, I want it to go to a certain slide. So it's not the last slide viewed, it would be, hang on here, I know it's in here somewhere, slide, and then I would choose table of contents. And so this particular button now is formatted to always go to the table of contents. And if I copy it, and I just go to each slide and go paste, paste, oops, gotta go to each slide, paste, and so forth. Let me just go down to that one that we did, people, and I'll just paste it on there, Control V. So let's try that out now. So when we go, if I did it, I could put these on all the slides, and if I go back to this one, click on it, go to people didn't believe him, and if I want to give people an option to go back, I can just click here, and boom, it takes me back to my table of contents. So if you'd like, for another thing you can do is add a hyperlink onto each slide to take you back to the table of contents. So if people want to just go to a particular slide and then jump back, they can.